Hello, welcome everyone to the next video. Today I'm gonna talk about the endgame. Endgame is the most impactful part of the game, and I strongly recommend to any player to put effort into learning good endgame techniques and checkmate patterns. So today I will do my best to start introducing you to that endgame theory. Every endgame book will start by recognizing the endgame condition, which is checkmate. Checkmate means to capture the enemy king, and basically it means to force the king to run out of moves. Yeah, this is something obvious. This is something we have to realize. Because look at this. This is a king and it can move to how many squares? Those are 8 squares and this is 9. So king being in the center can run to 9 squares. Yeah? Let's compare it with this king. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. So it's 3 squares less. Yeah? It's 1/3 less than before. And then if you were to put the king in the edge, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Even less, right? So compare this king to this king. Where would you prefer to have the enemy king at? Well, definitely if you force it in the corner, it's gonna be easier to capture it, yeah? Quite a simple fact, but quite a big realization for some people. When I was a beginner, it was quite a big realization for me as well. One more thing. We said that on the edge, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves, but there is one more detail about Shogi game, and that is, if you look at your Shogi army, you will have 3 types of pieces that will move only forward. So a pawn, a lance, and a knight, right? So those pieces would be useless if you were to attack the king on the bottom rank. You could say those pieces would be useful, but we all have to agree we have more pawns than any other piece. So it's like half of our army is disabled. On the other hand, if the king was on their back rank, notice what is the difference. Here, this is our promotion zone, right? As opposed to here, where it was enemy promotion zone. So here, this small token will be able to become a much more powerful piece, yeah? Same with all the other pieces. The rook becomes a dragon, bishop becomes a horse, and so on. They all become stronger, so it becomes relatively much easier to capture this king. On the other hand, if the king was here, he would have an option to promote their pawns and their pieces, making it easier for them to defend their king. So this is something we have to realize about the shogi board and about the king movement itself. Now let's ask ourselves, how many pieces do you actually need to checkmate a king? Is it 2? Or 3? Or 5? Or does it depend where it is? Well, definitely it depends where it is, because we just established that. The answer is actually 1, but the most usual occurrence would be at least 2. Why is that? Well, if you imagine that I add up 2 pieces like this, if one piece is attacking the king, in this case the god, right? Gonna be checking the king, which means it's the direct danger, under direct danger of being taken by the enemy king. So that piece, the checking the king, will need a supporter piece. And this is why we need at least 2 pieces. To overpower a singular king, you need 2 pieces, because 2 wins against 1. But I said you need 1 piece, yeah? Well, there is this one very unusual occurrence when the enemy king has no possible move, and it's stuck in the corner like this. Yeah, it has no square to move because there's their own pieces around him. And you can use a singular knight to finish that king off. And this works because knight, unlike other pieces, is a long range piece. So in this case, king can do nothing against it. There is, of course, more rare occurrence with all the long range pieces as well, where, for example, I have a rook here, and if I were to drop it here, it's gonna be a checkmate because of simple fact that they have no pieces in hand to block that check with. But as you know, because of the shogi rules, this is a really rare occurrence. It's gonna work with all the long range pieces, so rook, bishop, lance. And basically this is what we want in endgame theory. We want to know what pieces do we need to checkmate the king, what is the easiest position to checkmate the king. So those are what we call checkmating patterns. And all the time, the basics of our thinking will be how do I capture that king? How do I force it to run out of moves? And naturally, the more pieces get involved, the more king is in the middle of the board, the more complex a problem will become. But it is important to concentrate first on the easy shapes, simple, non-complex positions, so then you can work out from there. So this is why, for this video, I would like you to remember those two patterns. One, which was the knight drop, simple knight drop checkmate. And this one more complex. This one is so popular and so useful that it has its own name. It's called gold at the head checkmate. It's when you put the gold in front of the king and you have to study really well. Really, the king have no square to go, and also it cannot take the gold because of the pawn supporter. Those two are the first two shapes I would like you to remember. They're gonna be very useful. In the next video, we'll try to get some more practical simple shapes to work with, and this way we can build up your endgame knowledge, pattern recognition skills. So sorry for short video, but those basics are very important, so please spend time on it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.